Ashton Kutcher built his entire image on being a good guy, a philanthropist, a guy fighting child exploitation through Thorn, a brilliant investor spotting the next big thing, a relatable family man who protected his kids' privacy, and then in September 2023, all of it collapsed in about 48 hours. His glowing letters defending a convicted serial predator went public.
That 70s show star Danny Masterson was sentenced to 30 years to life in prison. More than 50 letters on his behalf were sent to the judge, including 2 from co-stars Ashton Kutcher and Mila.
Ashton Kutcher calls him kind, courteous, and hardworking. He has always treated people with decency, equality, and generosity.
His non-apology video made it worse. His social media comments became a graveyard of people reminding him exactly who he is.
Hilary Duff is in Lizzie McGuire. She also has an album out. She's going to be in a movie called Cheaper by the Dozen. And she's one of the girls that we're all waiting for to turn 18.
She was 14 when we started the show. I was like 19, right?
I saw what Becky made with Danny about our first kiss.
No, it wasn't the first kiss. It was like a second or third kiss.
It was like the first week. I was Ash was attractive, and I was a 14-year-old little girl, and I was extremely scared for my life.
Sure.
And he was very nice about it. He was like, oh, don't worry. So I was like, okay. Then Danny goes and goes, dude, I'll give you $10 if you French kiss her.
You're making it sound like it was like really... okay, Dan, we had a little side bet, don't we?
And instead of disappearing quietly, he spent the next 2 years running the same failed PR playbook over and over, each time hoping people had finally forgotten that he spent 20 years partying with monsters, defending criminals, and building a fake image to cover it all up. But the internet doesn't forget, and neither do I. So let's get to it. In the late 90s, Kutcher landed on That 70s Show with Danny Masterson and became famous almost overnight. The show was massive, and by the early 2000s, Kutcher was everywhere. MTV, movies, making $250,000 per episode. He was the guy every studio wanted. Then through his prank show Punk'd, he met Diddy, and everything changed. Kutcher and Diddy didn't just hang out. They did everything together: basketball games, award shows, parties, business deals, investment meetings. Kutcher brought Masterson and Wilmer Valderrama into the mix, and they called themselves the New Hollywood Rat Pack. At the 2003 MTV Movie Awards, they showed up in coordinated suits like they owned the building, photographed together constantly, talking openly about being best friends. This wasn't casual. This was brotherhood that lasted 2 entire decades. But people in the industry already had an idea of what Masterson and Diddy were. There were whispers, stories, no social media to broadcast it, but the stories existed if you looked. Both men had reputations for being violent and abusive toward women. Kutcher was tight with both of them, and instead of distancing himself, he got closer. In 2009, while cheating on his wife Demi Moore constantly, Kutcher co-hosted Diddy's final white party in the Hamptons. He was the only person Diddy ever let co-host one.
Ashton's organization, give it up for Ashton Kutcher one time, that's why we're here. The whole UN, we're not here no more, you know what I'm saying? Make sure that we also buy some of those t-shirts, you know what I'm saying?
7 years later, in 2016, he brought Masterson onto Netflix's The Ranch as a co-star and executive producer. When women started making accusations against Masterson in 2017, Kutcher fought to keep him on the show. He kept fighting for someone convicted of serious crimes because that was his best friend. Danny Masterson went to trial. 3 women testified about assault and about being incapacitated without consent. The jury found him guilty. 30 years in prison, no parole. Then something shocking happened. Kutcher and Mila wrote a letter to the judge. Not before trial, after conviction. In this letter, they said Masterson was someone they'd leave their daughter alone with. They talked about how against substance use he was, how incredible his character is. Except Masterson was convicted of using substances to incapacitate women before committing crimes. So Kutcher and Kunis are praising this guy for being anti-drug while he's in prison for exactly that. When it became public, they made a video claiming the letters were only for the judge. Like that would make it better for some reason. Now let's talk about Diddy again. In September 2024, Diddy gets arrested on federal charges, including sex trafficking allegations. They raid his homes and pull 96 electronic devices and 100 terabytes of footage. Suddenly, Kutcher's name is everywhere again because everyone remembers that Kutcher and Diddy were best friends for over 2 decades. Hundreds of photos, business dealings, white party co-hosting, and Kutcher's team immediately starts saying they barely knew each other, that he took a picture at some events 20 years ago. Except that's complete BS. There are interviews where they talk about being best friends, photos at basketball games and award shows, actual business together. This was deep. When those Masterson letters went public in October 2023, Kutcher and Mila didn't just lay low, they disappeared. For nearly a year, they weren't at events. They weren't photographed. They went into complete hiding. His social media comments became brutal. People weren't defending him. There were no ride or dies, just anger, constantly. For months, nobody saw them. And then something interesting happened. They started carefully testing the waters. In the summer of 2024, Kutcher and Mila started their expensive PR reset. But it wasn't just one move. It was a calculated cycle, a pattern, a playbook they'd run, fail at, wait a few months, and run again. First, they showed up at super exclusive parties with no phones, no cameras, no social media, just official photographers taking approved pictures, sterile, controlled, safe. Then, they did something shocking. They started dragging their kids to public events. This is important because they had spent years saying they'd never do that. Privacy, family first. That was the whole message. Until they needed good PR, suddenly privacy was disposable. And that's when the real manipulation started. Bring kids to NBA games, concerts, Taylor Swift shows. Watch the articles flood in about how relatable they are. Ashton posts on social media. Mila does a controlled interview in her house, looking laid back and real. Paparazzi shots mysteriously appear on date nights. The same paparazzi they used to sue. The same paparazzi they'd call lawyers over. Now, those photos are everywhere because they wanted them there. This isn't organic. This isn't accidental. Every single photo is arranged as an exclusive. Nobody gets pictures of Ashton and Mila at an NBA game without their approval, especially not after they literally won a lawsuit over it. A few weeks of coverage. Comment sections fill with people reminding everyone what they actually did, what they wrote in those letters, who they defended. The coverage dies. They disappear for a few months. Then they do it all over again. A podcast, a concert, kids at another event, testing, always testing, waiting to see if we finally forgot. Spoiler alert, we didn't. But the PR cycle is just the surface. Underneath it is something worse. Because Kutcher didn't just have bad friends. He built an entire infrastructure to hide who he actually is. In 2010, Kutcher founded Thorn with his then-wife Demi Moore. He called it a charity fighting child exploitation online. He positioned himself as a hero, a guy fighting the good fight. Real men don't buy girls. That was the tagline. It became his image, the thing that made him seem like a good person despite everything else. But Thorn is way more complicated than that. Court documents show that Thorn's technology claims to detect certain illegal material, but critics and European lawmakers say it's really designed to scan everyone's data, all of it. Your messages, your photos, your private communications, everything. And Thorn has spent millions lobbying to make this legal, millions trying to get governments to let them access people's devices. With the exception of government officials, just regular people, that's who they want to access. Here's where it gets worse. Thorn invested in Kutcher's own venture capital fund. His own fund. A charity founded to protect children is investing in the business holdings of the guy who runs it. The SEC actually fined Kutcher and Mila $1 million for conducting unregistered crypto offerings. But before that fine, before the Masterson letters, before Diddy was arrested, Thorn was making him look like a saint. A good guy with a charity fighting for kids. It was his image rehabilitation machine. And the people connected to Thorn and Kutcher's business dealings make this darker. His venture capital partner is a billionaire named Ron Burkle. Ron Burkle was on the Jeffrey Epstein list when it was unsealed in January 2024. He's also friends with Diddy. He was a close business partner with Harvey Weinstein. And now Kutcher, Burkle, and their partner Guy Oweri are buying Soho House, an exclusive private members club. All the people connected to this web: Diddy, Masterson, Weinstein, Epstein. And Kutcher, right in the middle of it. WeWork is another example. In 2018 and 2019, Kutcher got involved with WeWork, a company that was a complete disaster. He brought in Diddy to promote it. They went on stage together hyping the company, telling people to invest. Kutcher said he'd looked under the hood and would invest at their $47 billion valuation. A few months later, the company imploded. The CEO stepped down, and a few years after that, WeWork filed for bankruptcy. The stock fell to 87 cents, giving it a valuation of $44 million instead of $47 billion. But Adam Neumann, the CEO and Kutcher's close friend, walked away with an estimated $2.2 billion. Kutcher brought people in to help him pump up a dying company. That's what he does. The pattern is clear in my opinion. Kutcher uses his celebrity, his charm, his image as a good guy to manipulate. He built an infrastructure to rehab his image. Thorn, WeWork, venture capital investments, exclusive parties, orchestrated paparazzi shots with his kids, controlled interviews, strategic social media posts. Every single move designed to make people forget about the company he keeps. Every few months, when the anger dies down, he tests the waters again. Another event, another interview, another calculated appearance. Each time hoping people have finally moved on. Each time failing because the internet doesn't forget. This guy had everything: money, fame, success. And he chose to stay close to men that people in the industry already knew were dangerous. When one was convicted, he defended him in writing. When the other was arrested, he tried to erase the evidence. He's not a guy who got unlucky with bad friends. He's someone who made choices. He stayed, he defended, and now he spent 2 years trying to convince everyone that none of it happened. So here's the thing about trying to rebrand yourself when the entire internet has screenshots. You can hire the best PR team money can buy, but at the end of the day, people remember. They remember the letters. They remember who you defended. They remember the company you keep. And every time you pop back up hoping we've moved on, they're right there in the comments reminding you that we haven't. Ashton Kutcher spent 2 decades building a house of cards, and when it finally collapsed, he tried to rebuild it with the same cards. Newsflash, it's not working, and it never will.
That's my opinion!